See, there's a sequel. Wasn't as good.
Welcome back to another edition of Bamcomixs, guys. I'm your host, OC, and before we get into this review, I hope that today is the day you decide to hit that subscribe button. So if you hit that subscribe button, you'll be able to get fresh new daily content, weekly content on news, reviews, game reviews, unboxings, movie reviews, impressions, and more. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification. Not only does it help us to provide you with more content, it just helps us to be able to make more content for you guys, okay? Before we get into this review, I'd like to thank all of you guys out there for watching and supporting the channel. This review is gonna be a little bit long, guys, so strap in. And I really hope you guys like this review. We worked really hard on it. So sit back, enjoy, hit that like button. And any comments, leave them below. Looking forward to reading those. And without further ado, let's get into The Last of Us 2 game review. The Last of Us 2 is a 2020 action-adventure game developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Interactive. The Last of Us 2. So, in remembering what was The Last of Us 2, before we say our final departing words to The Last of Us in this funeral, I'd like to thank everyone who came out to the funeral service. Let's talk about the life of The Last of Us and its impact on the gaming industry. The Last of Us was a 2013 game released for the PlayStation 3, which impacted gamers all around the world with its story of Joel Miller and Ellie Williams. A relationship between a flawed father figure and what came to be a little girl growing up who had the cure for the virus that is afflicting the world. 2013, Last of Us Part 1 broke all sorts of records, winner of over 200 game awards, and established Naughty Dog as one of the top studios in the gaming industry. In 2014, a remastered version was released for the PlayStation 4 with more features and a Left Behind DLC, which improved Ellie's backstory. The Last of Us became synonymous with the greatness of what a studio could achieve, like Naughty Dog's prior hits, Crash Bandicoot, the Uncharted series. The Last of Us was poised as the gem of the gaming industry, and Neil Druckmann as its media darling, garnishing all types of praise. The game is up there and is the legendary game, one of the best games of all time. So let's get into the game itself. As many of you guys know, I picked up this game from GameStop. I went in looking for a regular $60 copy, came out with a special edition. So I did manage to get The Last Game of Us Part 2. And I sat down, I played it through, wrote a couple of pros and my major con against this game. And a preface before we start talking about this game, the cons that I'm bringing here has nothing to do with certain events in the beginning of the game. And since the game has already been out, okay, the cat is out of the bag. Many of you know that Joel Miller is not a playable character in this game. A moment of silence for Joel. A moment of silence. Joel Miller. We pour one out for Joel Miller. A hero in his own right. Flawed? Was he perfect? No. But Joel gave us many wonderful memories. So, let's start with the pros of The Last Game of Us. Pros, graphics. Let's just start off with the opening foray, shall we? The Last of Us 2 is among the best graphical achievements in the industry. It is up there with games such as Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. This game has incredible graphics. It is one of the best in the industry. Okay, let's not speak negative of the game yet. Okay, this game is so polarized online, with many critics giving it a 10 out of 10 and many players giving it a 0 out of 0. We're talking graphically, you can't ignore whatever you think about the game, okay, until I get to my major con. We're speaking graphics, okay? The game is beautiful. It's like looking at a new Ferrari right on the lot. You put this game on, we have lighting effects, shadow effects, facial animations, character models, environment. The game is simply beautiful, and on a PS Pro, I have no doubt that running at 1080p or running in such a high definition on a PS Pro, the game is beautiful. Beautiful to look at. Grass, you know, the game, it's one of the best when it comes to graphics, okay? It's very pretty to look at. Everything is done with so much care, so much detail, right? So there's items, things in the game, the backgrounds, every little piece of the game, from the notes to the weapons, to the backpack, to the floor, to the ground, to the mud, to the snow, has been meticulously detailed with the utmost care, and it is one of the best looking games of our generation. So graphics are on point, okay? Simply just my mouth open playing the game, like my mouth was hanging open. Graphics amazing. Gameplay hasn't been taken too much to the next level since the first one. They do introduce a couple of mechanics here. The gameplay in terms of stealth mechanics, you can prone this time around. Your character can go prone, can crawl in the grass to hide, and just the spectacle of being hunted. Because this game borrows, just like the first game, borrows a lot of elements of Rockstar's Manhunt. A similar game with a different theme in which you are being hunted by roving gangs. And in terms of the stealth mechanics in the gameplay, it's very sharp. The shooting mechanics are sharper this time around. And everything has been taken up a notch in terms of gameplay. You can still scavenge. You can still go to upgraded workbenches to upgrade your weapons. You can take out your enemies in a variety of ways, in a variety of environments. Combat is vertical as well. You can climb up different structures. You can hide. You can fool enemy AI. And so, in terms of gameplay also, the enemy AI has been much improved. Enemy AI pulls flanking maneuvers, they communicate to one another, and they call each other by names to give it actually a real-world experience. Everything in terms of gameplay, I had a blast in terms of the gameplay and playing it. For my first I put in 40 hours into the game. Okay, yeah, I really wanted to make sure that in that 40 hours of gameplay that I looked at every single factor and element. And so for my first about 15 to 20 hours of gameplay, I was really enjoying the game, carried over a lot of the elements of the first one. They also added a dodge. So there's a dodge button. You can actually dodge melee attacks. Okay, so in addition with the prone, there is a dodge. So we could take out enemies from afar, or we can melee enemies, we can stealth enemies, stealth attack, stealth melee, or a confrontation. The gunplay is not as clunky as the first game. It's a bit smoother, the gunplay. And The dodge was very appreciated, that dodge effect. So if an enemy were to come at you, you can dodge their strike and counterattack. Getting to the menus, I would say that this is the most accessible game. Basically, for those who have trouble with photosensitivity in games, there's just a multitude of options in the menus that allows you to actually cater the experience individually to your own taste. I mean, in terms of difficulty, this game has a number of difficulty settings, ranging from the easiest difficulty to the hardest difficulty, which each difficulty having a plus mode. So there's a game mode plus. You can actually play the game again with all of the items that you've collected in the world. And you can start it. There's a variety of cheats to the game. You could turn the cheats on. You could turn the cheats off. You could have infinite ammo. Okay, that's when you beat the game. There's a list of cheats. There's a list of filters. There's a list of modifiers. So I've never seen a game like this that included so many modifiers that can actually change the way the game behaves. I would say the closest thing to it that I've played recently was Doom Eternal with Doom's cheats. But you have the option to go in slow motion, as I said, infinite ammo, infinite crafting, infinite health packs, the accessibility options for the hearing impaired, for those who want to change the subtitles. You could change the color of the subtitles, the size of them. So really accessible in terms of catering the whole experience to each gamer, which is something that I found just incredible, in that on a technical level, in terms of a technical achievement. If any games were to come out in the future and want to introduce accessibility to players who have problems with photosensitivity, who have problems with flashing lights, or maybe are hearing impaired, or maybe they have dizziness or motion sickness from playing games, which does happen, this is the standard to abide by, The Last of Us 2, okay? So in that, I will give the game its props. There are things that it does really well. And let's talk about sound design here. Sound design in this game is amazing. The score, the music, the effects, worrying about if you step on a piece of glass, the enemy might hear that. So sound is so important to the experience, and the majority of the game does not include music. Yes, there are music in parts of the game, but there are a lot of the parts of the game where you're just traversing through a silent post-apocalyptic world, and you're hearing the sounds of crows, the sounds of the infected, the sounds of barking dogs as they hunt you down from enemy gangs, and roving gangs. So it's really, the way the game was crafted in terms of sound provides real tension. And there are times when there are sound cues in the game that let you know, when enemies are coming. But again, in accessibility options, you could turn all of the hints, all of the clues off. Like top of the game, AAA, okay? Improvements all around in sound design, graphics, gameplay, menus, core AI, enemy behavior, and player choice when it comes to combat and confrontations. That's as far as the choice goes when it comes to that. Now,
scan the area.
Here is the issue. Okay, here is the con now. We've already talked about the good stuff, but now all of that is undercut by one thing, and that is the story. Okay, which this game could have reached for a 10. It could have grabbed a 10. The story in this game and narrative will go down in history as the biggest bait and switch ever in the history of video games. The opposite of what you expected happens in a terrible way. Some examples of this include Game of Thrones Season 8 and Star Wars The Last Jedi. This game will join those in the pantheon of subdued expectations, or let's subvert their expectations. Let's bait and switch, which is what Neil Druckmann and the team at Naughty Dog did when they edited trailers to make it look like you were going to play as Joel and Ellie in the early footage, when in reality that is not the case. The game starts off in story mode as Ellie, and I am not taking the points away from the death of a character. That's not what this is about, or the alternate lifestyles that some of the characters in this game choose, because I'm respectful of all lifestyles. Okay, so it has nothing to do with that, despite what the mainstream gaming journalistic media says for anyone who gives this game less than a 10. It's less than a 10 for a very good reason. It's less than a 10 because for the first 12 to 15 hours of this game, or 20, or however you decide to pace yourself, you play as one character, when in reality you'll be playing as this character. And if we open our steelbook, as I got this special edition, I was like, who's this? I'm like, who's this? Who is this person? I know this person. I'm familiar with this person, because this is a person we were introduced to in this game. So if you advertise a game with Ellie in the trailer, Ellie on the cover, Ellie on the box, Ellie in the statue, then my only thought in my mind is that when I play the game, I'm going to be playing as Ellie, right? I mean, it makes sense, right? You like bait and switch, okay? And not in the history of games. This game is historic, okay, but not in the way Neil Druckmann, is thinking maybe gamers might think that it will be historic. Historic in the same way, but in a negative way. Historic in the way we remember the Titanic, okay? Like, we remember it because it was bad. That's why we remember it, okay? And to destroy a franchise in the story. First, let me, because I'm moving ahead of myself here. Let me first describe what the story is without spoiling it, okay? Let me see if I can do that, okay? Let's pretend that Rocksteady Games is going to come out with a new Batman Arkham game, okay? Oh my goodness, you're so excited. You buy the Batman game, right? And it turns out also Batgirl is a playable character as well. So in the trailers, everything leading up to the release of this new Rocksteady Batman game, you know that really the main character you're going to be controlling here is maybe a bit of Batman, but it's going to be more of a Batgirl game. Very exciting, okay? Because now we're going to be playing from Batgirl's point of view. And let's say you just start the game, and in the first hour of the game, Batman dies. Okay? He's dead. Okay. Now, Batgirl seeks to avenge the death of Batman, okay? It turns out that Poison Ivy's sister kills Batman. And Poison Ivy's sister kills Batman in front of Robin and in front of Batgirl. So now the focus of the game is Batgirl trying to get vengeance, trying to avenge the death of Bruce Wayne Batman. And in the game, we learned that 12 and 15 hours in, the main character is not Batgirl, but Poison Ivy's sister. Just as Batgirl was going to avenge Batman's death, the game changes, and we play from the point of view of Poison Ivy's sister, and we learn that not only Batman was a horrible person, okay, which we all know that Batman is not perfect, okay, But we learned that Batgirl is a villain. Your mission as Poison Ivy's sister is to hunt down Batgirl, beat her up, almost kill Batgirl. Then you switch to Batgirl's point of view.
That's so dumb.
She's going to go for Poison Ivy's sister, and in the last minute thinks, you know what? What I'm doing is wrong. I shouldn't be hunting down Poison Ivy's sister. Yeah, Batman died. So what?
That's so dumb.
That's The Last of Us 2. That's the story of The Last of Us 2, okay? It's a moral play that says that vengeance, revenge is wrong, okay? Revenge is terrible. Revenge is wrong. When Ellie does it, that's when it's wrong. When our new character, Abby,
Please don't shoot.
when she does it, it's perfect.
Joel, please get up.
The game villainizes, destroys, rips apart your favorite characters, destroys. It would be almost the same as if you were to take your favorite comic and throw it in the garbage. Because everyone is like, The Last of Us 2, the people are haters. Everyone who's not giving it a 10 out of 10 is a hater. They're a misogynist. They don't like strong female main characters. Even I considered selling my copy back, but I know it's not going to work, so I keep my copy. The game is a total narrative disaster, despite what all of these media outlets think, okay? Because you know, if there's dissent from the media, the outlets and the game journalists who cover this game, they're going to be blacklisted by Sony. They're not going to receive advanced copies of the game. They're not going to receive the perks that Sony Entertainment Division gives to journalists who work with them. They won't be receiving early copies. And receiving early copies is critical to a reviewer. You see, me as a reviewer, I'm late to the party. This review is old, so again, thank you guys for watching it. But as a gamer, as a game reviewer and a gamer, we here at Bamcomixs, we're not like, super big. But we're gonna tell you the truth. And leading up to the release of this game, there have been leaks. I have avoided the leaks, but there are many that have tried to comment on these leaks, and under fair use of copyright, were struck down just for talking about the leaks in the game. And that is all Neil Druckmann, Naughty Dog, and Sony, and the censorship of free speech. We live in a society where free speech is being censored. We can't say our real opinions. The edits to trailers to fool the gaming community, to fool the players into thinking this is what you're getting. This is why I say it's the last game of us. I'm not gonna say it's The Last of Us Part 2, because it's really the last game of us. So in my view, there is no payoff for Batman's death or Joel's death, okay? You already know the cat is out of the bag. Joel Miller perishes within the first hour or 2 hours of the game. There is no payoff. There is no payoff because our characters are destroyed, broken, crippled, and basically not our characters by the end of the game. There's no real redemption. It's a fake redemption. It's a false redemption. You can't introduce a new character to us by killing a character that we love. Okay? You can't start off a new Super Mario game killing Mario and expect us to like King Koopa when we spent all our time with Mario and we know Mario is a character. But Mario's not perfect. He jumped on a lot of turtles, and he's killed a lot of turtles in his time. Those turtles were trying to kill him. Are they bad? Vengeance is bad. Okay, even if you do introduce a character by having that character do something horrific, and then later on we understand why the character did that, regardless, it's the main character, okay? So it's fine because it is the main character. But what you don't do is promote something that has a main character in it, and then take a side character who no one expected, destroy the main character and the secondary characters, and expect us to have sympathy. And this game does that. This game forces you to do a lot of uncomfortable things. It's a very violent video game, okay? It's perhaps one of the most violent games I've played in my life. Okay, this game, I mean, in terms of violence, this game's not for kids. Like, this has to be the most violent video game I've ever played in my life. Okay, we're seeing just dismemberment, limbs flying off when you shoot enemies with shotguns, just like realistic depictions of human suffering to such a degree, and the way Naughty Dog forces your character Ellie to participate in some of these executions in just a brutal fashion. You're harming animals in this game, dogs specifically. There's so many moments in the game where it made me feel uncomfortable, but it was a survival game, right? Survival horror, and the dogs were coming after me. I had no choice but to eliminate those dogs. While Abby, she gets to pet dogs. She gets to play catch with dogs. She's not vilified. Despite the fact that in the beginning of the game, like what? Listen, Joel's no angel, okay? Joel is far from perfect. There was a Firefly massacre that he participated in at the end of the first game. But he did so because the Fireflies did not let Ellie know that they were gonna murder her, okay? So Joel had already developed a bond with Ellie, and, you know, they didn't give her a choice. They didn't tell Ellie, Ellie, would you like to sacrifice yourself for humanity? No, they just put her under, and they were going to cut her open and basically kill her, murder her. She had no idea that that was gonna happen. And Joel wasn't gonna let this little girl get chopped up. So what did Joel, what Joel did, was it bad? Yeah, it was. If Joel didn't do that, would humanity have the cure? Probably. But ask yourself, would you give up your daughter if she had the cure for humanity, for a terrible disease infection? Would you give your daughter up to be killed to get the cure? Would you at least let her know, or would you just put her to sleep without her knowing her choices? So she didn't have a choice. So Joel did what he had to do. And The Last of Us 2 deals with the repercussions of that. My main beef with the game is that it was a bait and switch. And not since Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty was there such a bait and switch. Metal Gear Solid 2, everyone thought they were going to play as Snake. Turns out you play as Raiden. This game makes that bait and switch great. I mean, I like Raiden. Raiden is cool. Is he as cool as Snake? No. When we're watching The Walking Dead and you see Negan destroy Abraham and Glenn, are we rooting for Negan? Okay, is Negan cool? Well, after he does that, you know, the show creators kind of make Negan cool, but that doesn't excuse what he did. There has to be some retribution. There has to be some sort of conclusion and payoff for the crime of murdering Glenn and Abraham. Negan. No, Negan is cool now. Doesn't work like that. Abby. If this is your main character, Neil Druckmann, why didn't you put her on the cover of your game? These guys are on the cover of your game, and Naughty Dog still continues to shamelessly promote this when they destroyed this. This is gone. There's no more Joel and Ellie. Joel and Ellie are gone. And the shock that you know, playing through with Abby, which is the new character, Abby and Lev, which are the new Last of Us characters. That's it. So she has no remorse about killing Joel. She has no remorse of anything. Abby's gameplay is actually even better than Ellie. Abby gets the best melee combat. She gets the best weapons. Abby has the ability to craft ammunition. Ammunition, right? You can make your own bullets. You can make your own shotgun shells. Abby gets the best of everything. So then maybe the game should have started with the player playing as Abby, which it does for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes. It does for a little bit. But if this is going to be Abby's game, then introduce Abby and let the gamers play as Abby for the first 12 hours of your video game. Don't start the game with people playing as Joel for 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes. Switch to Ellie, right? See Ellie and confront what happened with the WLF, which is the new big bad in this game, the Washington Liberation Front, which Abby is one of the leaders of the Washington Liberation Front, and why she kills Joel in front of Ellie, which motivates the player to want to take revenge. So the whole game is a revenge mission because it's a narrative game, and because the narrative pushes the gameplay forward. The reason you want to keep playing this game is because you want to know if Ellie, and it's funny how they made the name similar. It's really funny how Neil Druckmann made the name similar. Ellie, Abby. It was done purposefully, okay? Ellie is who I'm rooting for. Ellie is one of the main bosses in the game. It's like you're doing a complete, like, look, sequels are very dangerous. The Last of Us, maybe it should have just stayed The Last of Us. And there are things that don't need sequels. Every time you make a sequel, you dilute the original. But when you're making sequels, the danger is that you're either going to downgrade what you made, or you're going to completely destroy what you made. And in this instance, it's destroyed. You're not going to get it back. It's done. The game does flashbacks and flashbacks and flashbacks, but by that point, Joel is dead. And, you know, those are the best parts of the game, the flashbacks between Joel and Ellie. This game is like almost 2 games, okay, is what it is. And the second game that you're playing, it should have been like a DLC. It should have been something separate, okay, because it just, you know, you're watching a movie and then all of a sudden the movie stops and now you're playing a different, you know, you're watching something else. So, all in all, The Last of Us, with this bait and switch, fooling the audience, gets a 6 out of 10. That's right, folks, a 6 out of 10, which is a shame. The game does a lot of things well, but it's like watching a Ferrari drive into a garbage truck and explode. And if that's the experience you want, every gamer should actually participate, should experience that, but only if the game is on sale. I'm not telling you not to buy the game, but it's not worth $60. Okay? If I knew what I knew prior, I wouldn't have bought it at its regular price point, but I buy it, I review it to tell you guys. And so the game gets a 6 out of 10. Controversy surrounding the game. Just quickly to just talk about that in the future of Naughty Dog. And guys, if you have the opportunity to pick this game up, I would suggest either wait for it to go on sale or wait for it to become free in PlayStation Plus, which probably it will become free in the future. We know that The Last of Us Remaster was once free in PlayStation Plus. This game does not feature multiplayer. It is a single player campaign, and for that reason the replay value in it is not a lot. They could have given players the choice to let Abby live or to not, and they did not give the player any sort of choice in the terms of the story. So it's really a force-fed narrative that has a lot of socio-political commentary to it that I didn't feel was necessary, and it's a shame. Perverting expectations for the sake of shock, for the sake of trying to convey a moral lesson that's hypocritical and doesn't make any sense. It's just, again, it's like taking your favorite comic and just throwing it in the garbage because that's cool, that's gonna shock you, it's gonna be something different. When it's different, but it's different in a bad way, and this game will be talked about for years to come. Not in a good way. I have my last Game of Us. In my mind, this is the first and only Last of Us game. The story started here and it ended here. It was fine, it didn't need a sequel. Neil Druckmann, the studio, and Naughty Dog, who many of the development team at Naughty Dog after making this game left. The fact that Neil Druckmann's ego is so huge that he's actually attacking gamers, and the game press attacking gamers for not liking this game, for not having real honest reactions and opinions. Look, he said it himself. Fans of the original are not gonna like this game. If you're a fan of the original game, you're not gonna like this game. He himself said it. Okay? And he himself said that in the whole larger picture of things, gamers, he doesn't care about the fans. Okay? This is the story that he wants to tell, and it's all the more power to him. This is his creation. But you can't have it both ways. You can't release something, say that the audience is not gonna like it, and then actually get upset when the audience doesn't like it, okay? The future of Naughty Dog is that this will be the last Naughty Dog game I purchase. If you want to see the review for The Last of Us Part 3, I don't know if we're gonna cover that on this channel, because I don't want to spend any more like time and money just covering anything to do with The Last of Us. HBO is making a show, The Last of Us TV series, to retell all of the things that we've just experienced. So for those of you out there who don't know about The Last of Us, HBO is coming to the mainstream. HBO is coming to you. And the future of Naughty Dog for the last Game of Us, this is the nail in the coffin for Naughty Dog. And this has been the review of Naughty Dog's Last of Us 2. I'm not buying another Last of Us game, Neil Druckmann, because you massacred and killed all of the characters. And they're broken and destroyed like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi and Season 8 of Game of Thrones. So guys, that's the future of Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog has definitely been naughty, to say the least. Naughty Dog is done. I'm going to be looking at CD Projekt Red and their projects and other developers who are on the horizon of making great things. But as far as Naughty Dog goes, the commemorative statue is a testament to the end of an era. We see Ellie sitting on what's left of the franchise of The Last of Us. And as you can see, she's sitting on the franchise. She's sad because it's the end. It's finished. Okay, guys? So I hope you enjoyed this review of The Last of Us. Please hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that notification button. And we will see you on the next Bamcomixs video review. This has been OC. Have a cool week, guys. Stay safe and peace. The Last of Us Part 2. Moment of silence. What? Abby? You telling me I gotta play as Abby for 15 hours of the game? What happened to Ellie? Oh no, man. Ellie's bad now. She's evil. Joel, That guy was evil, man. Forget about those guys. It's all about Abby. Didn't Abby kill Joel? Yeah, man, but forget about that Joel guy. Did Last of Us? Oh, well, what? Forget about that. It's all about Abby. What? Abby? Batman is dead? Yeah, man, Poison Ivy is the new Batman. You didn't know that? Poison Ivy, she's the new Batman. In The Last of Us. Rest in peace, Naughty Dog. Rest in peace, Joel Miller and Ellie Williams. Oh, rest in peace, Joel Miller and Ellie Williams. Remember to subscribe to our channel this time, please. We make these videos and we work hard to give you this content.